anyone who's not supporting this on their website needs to catch up right now. It's really important that you cater to all audiences. The customer is telling you what they want by having a conversation. There was a 15x order growth from AI search to Shopify stores since January 2025. 20% of B2B buying is expected to be AI intermediated by 2028. The brands that are building this now are getting two things at once: a better buying experience today and AI search visibility tomorrow. AI referred customers do convert 31% higher on average and spend 45% longer and are 68% less likely to return products. That's Adobe tracking over 1 trillion visits. The technology exists, the infrastructure exists, the customer expectation exists. The only gap is whether your product data and your commerce layer is actually ready for it. Conversational AI is it's a commerce interface. So you need to stop thinking chatbot and start thinking of it as a new commerce layer. A customer arrives on your site, and instead of navigating a menu with like 47 categories, or they're able to type something like waterproof jacket for hiking in Scotland under 150 pounds lightweight. It's doing all that filtering, but without having to figure out menus or browse categories or look at some filters that may not have the exact filter they're looking for. This is now enabling them to use just natural language to search for the products in their own way. And then the AI will search your catalog conversationally and filters by that intent, not by keywords. So it will return 4 products with the reasons that it's showing those products, not 200 results that the customer has to kind of page through. AI referred orders have grown by 15 times since January 2025. There is a 3 times conversion rate increase when customers move from keyword search to natural conversation. There's 45% longer time on site and 31% higher conversion for AI-driven visitors. Now, we've all seen the Klarna headlines about them saving $40 million by replacing their agents with support agents. But if you're only using AI to answer FAQs more cheaply or answer customer service inquiries, then you're missing the biggest shift in retail history. And what Klarna actually built wasn't just a support bot. They built a commerce interface. And it's just a case of turning the way you're looking at it. So one that is an interface that understands intent, it remembers preferences, and most importantly, can close sales that a traditional search and filter menu would have lost. So if you turn it around, there's a much better way of looking at it. So what Klarna actually built is a new kind of transactional interface. It doesn't just answer questions. It understands what you want and remembers what you've told it before and helps you reach a goal. That support saving was really just a side effect. This same technique can be employed to replace typical search, browse, and checkout routine. Cool. So let's look at what's kind of happening around this. So Shopify is reporting a 15 times growth in AI referred orders since January 25, as I mentioned. Average order value from AI referred customers is consistently higher than direct traffic. And Godiva, a UK fashion brand, has deployed a GPT-5 powered assistant, which is pretty cool if you want to check it out. And within months, it was capturing buying intent, style preferences, fabric choices, and fit data from conversations, and that intelligence is feeding their product decisions now. So we did something very similar to this at Fernie. So we created, I'm just going to share it again, just here. I'll share my screen rather. So yeah, this is a case study for our conversational commerce bot that we did with Direct Ferries. So essentially, it's a conversational commerce bot that enables you to book ferries conversationally. Now, if you ever try to book a ferry, it's a pretty complex process in terms of the number of options that are available to you. You need to understand kind of what port you're leaving from, going to, how long the journey is going to take, whether or not you're taking a car, whether you've got a roof rack, all those sorts of things. You might want to kind of find out if you can take those things on a particular ferry. So now you can just ask those questions conversationally and get through to basically booking the ferry route through conversation. So it's really reducing that friction in terms of getting through to checkout. Yeah, and this is across like 3,000 routes. You can search, filter, recommend, and book your ferry all through that conversation. Yeah, so if anyone wants a copy of that case study, happy to send it across. Yeah, and so most brands will hear conversational AI and think it's a chat bot that says sorry a bit faster. And what we're actually talking about is a new way to sell. So this is really cutting edge stuff. There's only a few people who are actually doing this well. Boots one's pretty good. So if you look at the boots.com site, their conversational interface is pretty cool. And the real question isn't really how you can make your customer service cheaper like Klarna. It's what happens when your entire product catalog becomes searchable through conversation on your site, through voice, inside ChatGPT or WhatsApp or through Home Assistants. So it's opening up new doors in terms of how you can sell to your customers. So today we're breaking down what conversational AI actually is when you stop thinking of it as just a support bot, and how it works as an actual sales channel with a search interface and customer profiler, and it as a stepping stone to GEO. And then, the practical integration map. So where it connects to your CRM, your CDP, your search platform, every channel that your customers use. So, before we start, so we send out a newsletter every week covering this kind of stuff and, practical insights for D2C brands. It's free, and the link I'm going to drop into the chat. Conversational AI is it's a commerce interface. So you need to stop thinking chatbot and start thinking of it as a new commerce layer. It's a new avenue to sell on. It does a number of things you can kind of tie together. So customer arrives on your site, and instead of navigating a menu with like 47 categories, or they're able to type something like waterproof jacket for hiking in Scotland under £150 lightweight. So it's doing all that filtering, but without having to figure out menus and browse categories or look at some filters that may not have the exact filter they're looking for. And for example, you might have things in grams rather than saying that they're lightweight, and you might not have a price filter and that sort of thing. So this is now enabling them to use just natural language to search for the products in their own way. And then the AI will search your catalog conversationally and filters by that intent, not by keywords. So it will return 4 products with the reasons that it's showing those products, not 200 results that the customer has to kind of page through. So with smart search tools like Algolia and Commerce Tools Report, they've referenced this 3x conversion rate increase for AI-powered search engagement. But it goes even further than that, because every interaction builds a progressive profile of that customer, their size, their style, their budget, their use case. And when they come back for their next visit, the AI already knows them. So last time you were here, you were looking at hiking gear. We've just had some new stock. Do you want to see it? Like, it's that kind of, it's that customer service rep that knows you, is able to say, last time you were here, you were looking at these. We've also got these other things you may be interested in now. And that's not support. That's a sales assistant who never really forgets and really knows your customer. Yeah, it's not. It works for sales, not just support. Is the summary on that section. So looking at the technology, so it can work across a variety of industries or departments. So essentially, the support use case gets a lot of press because Klarna made it famous, but the same technology works anywhere that a customer needs to find something, decide something, compare something, or buy something. So 3 different use cases I've got here. First of all, the e-commerce shopping assistant. So I'm looking for a birthday gift for my mum. She's into gardening, around £40. It narrows down to 4 products, explain why it fits, and then offers gift wrap and checkout and upsell and that sort of thing. And that's what's seeing this 3 times higher return. Is essentially this AI assisted search that allows you to ask these natural language questions and get to the result. Then of course you've got your kind of support avenues. So customers asking an internal staff are asking which sealant works for outdoor PVC joints in below 0 temperatures. And the AI is searching, it's cross-referencing specs, recommending a product with data sheet and the application guide and any supporting materials that they might want to show, or somebody using it on PVC joints. Like, that kind of information can now be surfaced very quickly rather than the customer having to go find it. And then manufacturing. So forecasting. So while a front-end agent can be handling orders, the e-commerce backend can be doing manufacturing forecasting with automated reordering. So stock of this component X is at 15% of the safety threshold. So reorder is automatically triggered, and it goes and it sends an email to place an order or triggers an API, whatever it might be. And that's automated decision making based on rules that is a lot easier to do now with this conversational AI. You can set up much more ordered systems and add safety triggers and checks and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's an entirely new way of working in the back office. Then direct ferries. So we've got this bot that we built for them, and they've taken in house now, and they're working with their team. So, but essentially, it says that it enables you to ask these book a ferry conversational. So I'd like a ferry from New Haven in UK to DFA in France, I think it's called. And it's like, yeah, there is a ferry route available from New Haven to France. What date would you like to travel? And it says you say next Friday. Okay, so you'd like to travel on this date. How many passengers will be traveling? What type of vehicle? It's 2 passengers in the car. It's like, cool, great. I found 2 routes for you. And it's like, I'll have a dog with me as well. Is that okay? Yes, you can bring your dog on the ferry. Unable to provide quotes though that provide pets. So make sure you go to this other place instead. So it's able to, what you see there is, and we could have coded for that in this search as well, but what it's doing there is showing that the customer doesn't have to go and find this information. They're able to explain their booking, then explain that they're going to have a dog with them, and they don't have to go to searching through FAQs to say that they're going to have their dog on the ferry. They can then, it knows when not to use the standard process. So it's saying, actually, you need to go here if you want to, show this, if you want to book a ferry with your dog, essentially. So it's able to do that kind of handoff to traditional methods. That could be a person, could be a phone number, it could be whatever you want. But it actually understands that. And all the way through this conversation, what it's doing is it's capturing the information that it needs in order to show these ferry routes, essentially. It understands that it needs a place to depart from and go to, and a date and who's going to be traveling and the vehicle they're going to have. So it understands that it needs to capture all that information before it shows this panel. And there's another bit you can't see they've added, which is great, where they show a map and you can kind of see all the ports that are available. So you can actually really understand your route, kind of the distances and that sort of thing. So, when a customer kind of types something in a retail search where they're asking for, say, a waterproof jacket in Scotland, and your keyword search is returning 200 jackets, like a conversational AI is going to return those 4 items with the reason that it's returning them. So one of those experiences ends in a sale, and I'll let you guess which. But the 200 jackets may of course end in a sale, but it's a lot more. There's a lot more friction there because the customer may have to pay through multiple items, and they may not have time to do that. So you could lose the sale in the process. Whereas if it's a far more targeted answer that they're getting, the product is actually the product that they need, and it solves their challenge, then it's a far more easier sale. Now, Gen Z, they actually expect this. So 70% of Gen Z are using AI tools for shopping already. We've got 43% are starting their searches on TikTok, not Google. This is a different way of searching. This is influencer-led by TikTok, AI tools and that sort of thing. They're comfortable with the AI agents making purchases on their behalf. This is increasing. And they prefer visual search over a traditional text-based search. Essentially they're far more comfortable with multimodal inputs. And when I say multimodal inputs, I mean the ability to search using an image, using your voice, using those different methods. That's the multimodal part. And then getting the response in whatever format it comes. So the traditional kind of click a menu, browse categories, filter, sort, scroll, maybe find it. They're not so happy with that approach, and their drop off. This is considered toil from a younger generation's viewpoint in Gen Z. Whereas if it's conversational and you can just say I need hiking boots, waterproof, under £120, wide fit, like 4 results instantly, like that's far easier to kind of get the sale. This is a generation, they grew up with messaging, they text, they voice note, they DM. A conversational interface meets them where they already are. So they're very much happy with that kind of that interface of talking to these interfaces. Whereas millennials and older generations, we're a bit more traditional in our approaches, and maybe a little bit slower to pick up on these things. I'm starting to feel old now. 62% of they like those multimodal interfaces. That interface expectation has already shifted, and anyone who's not supporting this on their website needs to catch up right now. It's really important that you cater to all audiences. So It's also your stepping stone to GEO. So what you get is if you build a conversational AI layer on your site, you're forced to structure your product data properly. So things like specs, attributes, relationships, use cases, all of that being machine readable with JSON data and structures, and that your dev team will be able to do. That structured data is exactly what an AI search engine needs to surface your products in Google AI mode, in ChatGPT, in Gemini, in Copilot. All of those LLMs need that data. And the better structured it is and the easier it is for them to read, the easier it is for them to recommend you. So, so Shopify's agentic storefronts, they let your products appear inside AI conversations. You've got the new Google Universe Commerce Protocol that standardizes how AI agents discover and purchase products. So this is like fully automated, or at least partially automated, AI agent ordering. You've got the fact that if you build that conversational commerce today, it's preparing your catalog for that generative engine optimization tomorrow. That same structured product data powers both of those interfaces. So in a way, you're not doing two projects, you're doing one project that pays off in two channels. Yeah. So I'm also going to drop in. So we've established that basically conversational AI isn't just a chatbot upgrade. It's a commerce interface that searches, sells, profiles, and gets you ready for AI search. And everything I've referenced, I'm going to link in the chat. Yeah, I'm going to drop in our newsletter if anyone missed that. So there's a copy of that there in the chat. And yeah, now I'm going to walk you through where this kind of connects to everything else in your tech stack. So a conversational AI that sits in isolation is really just a toy. The value comes from what it connects to. So the things like your CRM, your CDP, your ads, everything all connected together. So yeah, so what you can do is you don't have to think of this as being a breaking technology. It can sit on top of your existing interfaces. So when you're integrating, you want this conversational aspect where a customer can say waterproof jacket for hiking in Scotland. What you can add is a conversational AI layer that understands that intent. Then it queries the old search index and it returns focused results with reasons. So you can have this kind of intermediary layer that interacts with the existing search APIs. It can integrate with just about anything as long as there's a actual interface for the AI to transact with. So like the Algolia search index or Elasticsearch or Bloomreach or whatever product it is you want to kind of integrate with, it can do that interface for you. All you need to do is build tools for you. And this is something we do at Fernie. Essentially, we build these tools that interact with all of these different external tools and technologies. And it enables this consolidated answer where it's really quite clever because the agent is kind of deciding when to reach out to each of those tools. You set it up based on a system of rules and when it needs to reach out to certain things and when it needs to fetch data from certain platforms and such. But yeah, it follows those rules and then it's able to decide when it should ping each of those APIs. And that's all done like safely with putting safety checks in place and making sure that we have rate limiting and all those sorts of things that prevent anything bad from happening. But what they do is they just enable this rich interface of having a conversation with your existing product catalog. So your customer talks to the AI, and the AI queries your search index, and the results come back to you filtered by intent, not just keywords. And you get to keep your existing investment. So you add a better front door. Cool. So CRMs and CDPs. So this is kind of the next level. So essentially what you do here is from each conversation, you want to extract that structured data, intent data. So you want to understand what it is they search for, what they compared, what they nearly bought, what they didn't, all of those things. And then that data flows then into your CRM, your CDP, Salesforce, HubSpot, Klaviyo, Segment, Bloomreach, wherever your customer profile lives, we can feed that data into, and then that becomes a resource for future sessions. Now, this isn't kind of we get them to fill out a form and to capture all this information. It's we're capturing that information as they land on the site. So it's like, what ad did they come in on? How long did they spend on the homepage? What were they looking at on the homepage? Like, where did they scroll to? What did they click on? Were they looking at product carousels maybe? Were they looking at reviews in a certain section? And we start capturing all of that together along with the actual searches, which are probably the richest part. So actually their queries that come through from the search interfaces. And then we put that all into the CRM, the CDP profile, and then that becomes a resource, or even just a Firebase database, like something really light. That becomes a resource that you can then use to fuel subsequent conversations. So as long as you can tie those two sessions together with some form of user ID, then you can use that information to then personalize their experience from that point forward, whether it be the same session or the next session. Like, it doesn't really matter. It's you're able to help them on that journey and provide a helpful customer service assistant to guide them through to the answer that they're looking for. So, for example, if a customer chatted about hiking gear 3 times, they compared 2 jackets, they asked about waterproof ratings, like that's a profile you can segment, personalize, and you can retarget them with precision, because you know they're interested in hiking and outdoor, and they're quite adventurous in terms of the waterproof gear. Like, you can retarget them with precision. So you can then give them much richer messaging externally and on site as they progress. So the Klarna insight isn't just efficiency. It was the data, understanding what customers want before they check out, and feeding that data into commercial decisions is really going to guide the sale. So so anybody who interacts with AI-powered search is spending 2.6 times more, and that's the actual stat from Commerce Tools. And I'll go over 3x, but essentially we can see that they're spending more once because basically what they're doing is that they're arriving much further down the funnel, and then when they get there, they're interacting with these really helpful AI tools that help them get through to checkout much faster. Cool. So how this conversational AI kind of interacts with your e-commerce platform. So the AI needs to read your product catalog. It needs to understand stock levels and customer order history to understand the customer and what's available. You then need to interact with the various product APIs. So you can kind of pull the products, and then you can just do conversational interfaces where it's like, okay, just link them through to the right product page. That's kind of like the first step. But then it's like, how do you go beyond that? And you start thinking about the what that customer is interested in doing. So do they want to add to cart? Do they want to maybe add a discount code? Can they create their order? Can they process a return? That's more the customer support angle. But then, maybe they want to understand more about the company. Maybe it's like, does the company have B Corp status? Does the company, are they responsible? How difficult is that returns process? Like, having some of that more those informational pieces about the company can then help fuel that order as well. So you need a mixture in there of products and history and the actual context of the organization as well. So when a customer kind of then comes along and they say, do you have the blue one in medium? The AI can then check that inventory in real time and say, yes, we have 3 in stock. Want me to add it to your cart? Like, it's fully integrated. Like, this is really where I see websites going in future. Is we're moving away from self-serve in terms of, not really self-serve, moving away from the customer having to self-serve in terms of having to go and find the products, having to add them to their basket, do all of the kind of the usual pieces, and moving towards a more connected, automated retail process where they talk to the AI assistants, and then those AI assistants will do the actions on the website on that customer's behalf. And as that gets more and more automated, it will move from being on site, which I think will be the first avenue that everyone integrates, to then being off-site integrated with their own AIs. So this is maybe down the line a bit, but that's kind of the trajectory that we're on. Like, when you look at kind of all of the tools and technologies that are being released, that's what it unlocks, is that more heavily integrated, automated approach to retail. So, your customers have been asking, like, is this in my size for ever? Like, most sites make them click through 5 pages in order to find out and find a size guide, or that may not be actually on the product page and that sort of thing. Like, a conversational interface just answers that in 1 sentence. Like, it turns that around with the real time kind of the product stock checks, the price lookups, the variant filtering, all of that through conversation without the customer having to figure out kind of how the website works. They can just talk, and they can use voice as well, so they can naturally just talk. So yeah, it's turning around the interaction mechanism. So then there is the trust gap. So you got one AI basically on every channel. So the same conversational AI it doesn't just live on your website alone. It powers that conversation with the customer wherever they are. So whether they start on the website, maybe they're searching carrying on site, you can follow up with them on WhatsApp. So the same assistant kind of follow up and say, how's it go? You saw you're looking at this product. You've got Instagram DMs. So the conversational comments can be like inside the Instagram DMs or on Alexa or on ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot. You're basically using that same product data. You're surfacing that inside AI conversations. Now, you may not get the conversational aspect directly with your bot, but you do get all of the intent that was gained from customers being on site and understanding how to interact with your products and what you understanding their intent of what they were looking for. You can then use that to power content to feed into the LLMs, the large language models, ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot, and then that puts your business in a good light, essentially, because your organization is the one that's providing the answer. You're the cited reference. And as we move forward, you're the one providing the little UIs that get surfaced in the LLM conversations, the e-commerce destination for commodity purchases like batteries or whatever. You'll be the destination that gets that sale. So, and then, traditional things like email and SMS triggers, like we can use the bot to build up a profile and use that to build the messaging to send to the customer as well. And all of this is possible now, and it works great. So, when you're at home and you're maybe chatting on your Google Alexa, you can say, hey, reorder my coffee pods, and it knows which coffee pods you mean. It knows where you buy them from. It's able to go to your standard shop and actually do those things. Like, that's the level of automation that we're headed for. And there are a few stepping stones in order to get there, and it's going to take a few years, I think, to get to this fully automated level. But that process has already started, and everyone needs to be on that journey to building out that automated infrastructure. Cool. So so what you want to do is start capturing intent. So this is one of the most powerful things you can get from this new AI technology, the LLMs, the large language models. They have the ability to actually understand what the customer is asking for in real terms. So they can ask an actual question. You can put an ask anything box on your website, and you get so much richer information. So traditional analytics will tell you what somebody clicked on, whereas conversational AI will tell you what they actually wanted. And there's a big difference there. So when they come on site and they say, I'm looking for a moisturizer for sensitive skin, no fragrance, like, we can start extracting that structured data using the models and basically saying, right, they're interested in skincare, moisturizer. Qualification is like they want sensitive skin, fragrance-free stuff, and their intent was to purchase, essentially. So we know why they're on site right now. So in that conversation, we can say, actually, let's do an upsell. So that moisturizer pairs well with this SPF serum for customers with sensitive skin, etc., and have that upsell within the session that they're on already, the same way you would in store. And then the cross sell. So you bought hiking boots last month. We've launched some merino socks that go well basically with hiking boots. They're great for hiking. And then the kind of the retention trigger. So we update their profile in the CRM. We can then segment these users and put them in a sensitive skin segment maybe, and then future campaigns we can target them with a personalized sensitive skin remarketing campaign. So it's a really rich profile that you can use, and it means you can do some really targeted messaging, and it's hyper-personalization at scale. So it's like targeting everybody with exactly what they're interested in, like all your customers and everyone you've got data on. That is rich information. So what this looks like when it connects is, so you've got kind of all of your customer channels. You've got kind of the website chat, WhatsApp, Instagram, voice. That's all integrated with your conversational engine. You've got your backend systems. So you've got your e-commerce API, where your normal online store. You've got your search platform, whatever you're using. You've got your CRM and CDP that are kind of capturing the intent data. You've got inventory systems on the back end, just making sure that you're not surfacing products that are out of stock, or you're able to provide the right messaging around that. And then, the external systems. So things like Shopify's Agentic storefronts, the new Google UCP, the Gemini's ChatGPT Copilot. having those systems surfacing your products. And then the outputs are obviously it's really, really, really rich data on the customer profiles. You've got intent analytics, what people are actually looking for. So you know what to focus on in terms of your sales and your marketing as well. So like, what challenges were they facing? Well, if you know that they're all having the same challenge that resulted in them wanting to have this product, you can write some really great marketing copy around that challenge and the product that you sell. Yeah. So when they come in and they ask those questions, like it's a different way of working. The customer can say, I need to reorder my usual coffee. It integrates with all of these platforms to give them the exact coffee that they're asking for through the method that they're requesting the sale. And then obviously that hooks into your usual sale, your e-commerce infrastructure. So you place the order through your normal checkout API, and then that will then just send the dispatch confirmation and place the order and fulfillment, that sort of thing. So it's one conversation with all of these systems with you don't have all the page loads in between, you don't have the navigation, you don't have the forms, you don't have the drop off. Like it's they can just ask their conversation. If they do drop off, you're able to tell why. Like, what was the question that they didn't get solved? Like, you can see that in a chat log, and you can actually then do analytics on that to say what's the biggest reason that customers dropped off. And all the Adobe data kind of backs this up. AI referred visitors spend 45% longer per visit. They're viewing 13% more pages. They're bouncing 33% less. And they convert 31% higher than non-AI traffic. And that's all data from Adobe's digital insight reports, which was, I think, something like 5,000 businesses or thereabouts. And that experience is conversational. The engagement metrics shift dramatically. Cool. So then you got your kind of framework. How do you get started with this? So it is sequential. Each phase builds on the last. So you don't want to skip to the last phase without first getting the first two on there. The phase one is the on-site conversational search. So this is typically like a 6 to 8 week project for most brands, and it's kind of adding a layer on top of your existing search to give that kind of semantic conversational style questioning and enable you then to search and refine search using just normal questions. And then that can be built into kind of the Agentic AI assistant as well, which can be a great value add there as well. And that's where essentially most of the value is concentrated. It's your own site, it's your own product catalog. So it's just creating a richer experience for your existing visitors. So you're building a conversational search interface that sits on top of your existing search platform. Your customer can type in a natural language query, and the AI itself interprets that intent, and it queries your search index, and it returns focused, relevant results with explanations. There's no catalog migration needed, no platform change. You're adding a layer on top of your existing infrastructure, not replacing that infrastructure in most cases. And then integration requirements. So you need an API to access your search platform. So Algolia, Elasticsearch, they've all got an existing API or a product feed. So you can grab those products and then you can do it externally. And then that product data needs to have those structured attributes, so things like specs, categories, use cases, compatibility, and then some form of basic checkout integration. So whether that's just linking to product page, which is the lowest level and probably not as useful as something more like an add to cart, and then having like the deeper levels, like the price lookup, the stock check. That's what really gives like the value in that conversation. Now, the reason for starting here is that essentially 15% of visitors are using site search, and they're generating 45% of revenue. So it's like a disproportionate share of revenues being typically coming through that search interface. So they are your highest intent visitors, and AI powered search converts 200 to 300% higher than traditional keyword search. So you're improving the experience for your best customers first, essentially. So the expected outcome. So you look for a measurable lift within 4 to 6 weeks of deployment. You have your structured data as a byproduct. So all of that's needed for kind of phase 2 and geo readiness. So the LLMs can read your product catalog. And then you get that customer intent data from day one. So as soon as they can start asking questions, you can start logging them and get extracting what actually is it that people are interested in. And so so this is where it's obviously your integration is where it's getting a bit more difficult. Every brand's search platform data structure and catalog complexity is different, and most brands at this stage want someone to kind of assess their situation and give them a plan, and that's where our AI audits come in. So I'm going to drop a link in the chat for anybody who's interested in taking part in one of these audits. Which I'll drop there. Yeah, that's what the AI audit is really for. So you can apply through that link, and if you're accepted, we'll spend 30 minutes looking at your tech stack and your product data and understand and get a better view, and we can then tell you where exactly to focus. So the link's in the chat if you would like one. So on to phase 2 walk. So this is where we build up the multi-channel profiling. So things like expanding into different channels like WhatsApp Business API. So you can then have conversations through WhatsApp, follow-up conversations, check for are they still interested in a product, qualification, that sort of thing. So it's the same assistant, same catalog, it's just a new channel. So customers who then prefer messaging over WhatsApp can then search and buy through WhatsApp as well. You also have your Instagram DMs, so they can have that conversational commerce inside the platform where, say, the younger audiences are discovering products, or audiences who are more interested in Instagram, and email and SMS triggers as well. So all that conversational flow you can set up a life cycle that is basically you left hiking boots in your cart. Do you want help choosing the right size? And really understanding what it is they're trying to achieve. And then from that, you can profile your customers. So in real time, this isn't kind of something that happens after the fact, and then we do some email campaign 6 months down the line. This is in real time whilst they're browsing the session. We want to be capturing that intent data and using that to feed the conversation. They've arrived on site with a rusty bicycle chain. We need to sell them not only a product to clean it, but we need to sell them a product to kind of get rid of the rust and lubricate afterwards as well. It's all of those things added together. You're building that conversation in real time. So whilst they're on one product page, you're recommending the other product they need to add, or when they add it to cart, you can say, look, know what you're trying to do. You also need this product as well. That's the real time customer service. And each interaction they have, it enriches that customer profile. So size preferences, price sensitivity, use cases, objections, it's all building that profile out for that customer in real time. So it's progressive profiling without kind of a form in the way to kind of capture that data. And the customer is telling you what they want by having a conversation, really, not by filling a survey. And you're obviously observing what they're looking at. So, all of those kind of capturing buying intent, style preferences, and fit, all of that can feed your product decisions and help you build virtual try-ons and all the other pieces you might want to integrate into that to help the customer see the product for them be in the shoes of seeing that product for them. So, and then you've got your upsells and cross sells. So AI knows that customer now and understands the catalog, so we can recommend in context. So you're looking at a lightweight hiking jacket. Most customers pair it with our merino base layer. Do you want to see it as well? It's an understanding is not just the typical merino base layer, but you can say do you want to see the vegan, our vegan option? Do you want to see what is it they're searching for that's kind of fueling the products that they look at and they eventually buy? You can really get deep on understanding that intent. So it's based on the current conversation and not historical behavior. And then so it's support as a revenue channel as well. So this is where the Klarna story comes back in. When a customer contacts support and the AI resolves the query and captures any commercial signals in that conversation, you can, if they say, I want to return this jacket, it's too heavy for what I need, that's obviously a return, but it's also a preference signal. So the AI can then offer a lighter alternative before processing the return. You didn't like that one, we've got this one, would you like it instead? Offer them an alternative, still process the refund, give them an alternative as well. So that obviously then helps reduce the resolution time. So Klarna got theirs down from 11 minutes to 2 minutes. the cost per contact drops, but now that support channel is also generating sales. So a customer calls to return a jacket in the old world. You process the return. In the new world, you're processing the return and selling them the right jacket. So it's the same conversation, but a different outcome on the P&L. Yeah, and then phase 3 is run. So this is where you bring in the more advanced factors. So the voice, the agentic commerce, the external web. So this is where it really gets interesting. So your conversational AI stops being just a feature on your site and becomes an actual presence across the entire commerce ecosystem. So you've got voice commerce, so same product, same data, same AI, new interface. So Alexa, Google Home, Siri, you've got the voice button on site. You've got maybe even through WhatsApp and such, like sending voice messages or voice notes, that sort of thing. Yeah, but it unlocks that ability to just say, like, hey Google, reorder my usual coffee and swap the decaf for the house blend. It's a conversational. It's a conversation with a conversational assistant. Like, is the ability for the AI to understand your intent and then give you the right product. So yeah, voice commerce is really growing because it's like zero friction like that. You can just ask anything and it's really forgiving. There's no screen, there's no typing, there's no browsing. And the conversational AI already understands natural language. Voice is just another input method. Do it while you're out walking. Like, it's easy. And then, yeah, agentic commerce. So this is the external web. So Shopify's agentic storefronts. So that's surfacing your products inside ChatGPT, Gemini, or Copilot. ChatGPT has moved back on their shopping interface a little bit. They've scaled back slightly, but this stuff is still like in the pipeline. So and Gemini, obviously that's Google Shopping, which already exists. So this isn't ads, this is results in the chat. Actually, yeah, like Google's Universal Commerce Protocol is a standardized way for AI agents to discover, evaluate, and purchase your products. And that's a new unlock. That's brand new. But it's going to be, you can see how that standardized methodology is just it's going to get into everything. So, because then it becomes really easy for extending that onto other platforms. So I think that's something we're going to see move in a big way this year, is how this standardized protocol kind of is moved into every system, like every subscription, every upgrade, every resale, every commodity item, like even just on the non-commodity items, the kind of the largest, like you're buying a MacBook or something, like something more at scale, a car, or that the ability for the AI agents to actually do that discovery for you in a standardized way is really being unlocked here. So yeah, so, and as I mentioned, like there was a 15x order growth from AI search to Shopify stores since January 2025 on one of the use cases. So yeah, you get a higher average order value from those AI referred customers. And all of that structured product data you built in phase 1 is what makes this work. Your conversational AI is trained on your data for the external AI ecosystem. And yeah, this gets you ready for geo as well. So this is obviously where those large language models can index your data and then just use your information in their responses. So it makes your products discoverable. It makes your suggestions, your answers, essentially, that you would give as a customer service rep for your brand. It surfaces that content inside the AI answers and surfaces your products as well through that process. So this conversational AI forces you to structure your data properly. So things like specs, attributes, and relationships and use cases. And that structured data is exactly what Google AI Mode and ChatGPT Shopping and Perplexity need to recommend your products. So it's one investment with multiple outcomes. And yeah, you get a better on-site experience today and AI search visibility tomorrow. And then you have the retail keywords that are triggering the AI overviews increased by 206% between January and March 2025, so early last year. We're well beyond that now. And the window to prepare is now. Like 90% of B2B buying is expected to be AI intermediated by 2028. I would say that's probably a large percent right now because people are doing the discovery, and that discovery counts for a lot because it says what you will then subsequently look at. Yeah, that's the quote from Gartner. Yeah, it's sequential. Each one of these phases funds the next. Don't skip to phase 3, and you'll see your ROI the fastest by using this process. Yeah, and then this architecture essentially extends beyond manufacturing and B2B applications. You've got the same architecture that is it's you can use it for the manufacturing forecasting bots, monitoring stock levels, triggering reorders. You've got your engineering support. You've got your B2B reordering. You've got your B2B buying. So things like, will the AI agent be implemented by 2028? Like that conversational commerce infrastructure that you build and can be used for the same one that you use for the D2C transfers directly to B2B as well. So if you're on the B2B side and you're looking at this and wondering how do we use it, yes, maybe it's less products being recommended directly in the chat, but it's a lot more of the kind of the information gathering and helping users find answers and doing qualification steps and seeing if they're still interested and doing the follow-ups and preparing the statements of work and doing all of those little pieces that lead to the sale. Like it's hooking all those things together. But yeah, so there's a number of obviously things that I've covered in here, but a lot of these steps, they're 4 to 6 weeks projects, they're 10 to 20k investments, and you get just based on kind of averages, you get a good return on that investment for that investment. Yeah, things like the conversational search layer, the structured product data, the support AI with intent capture, even doing WhatsApp business integration, and then moving on to the larger things like the CRM, CDP integration for progressive profiling. They do get a little bit bigger as you head down the line, but essentially you're still looking at kind of 6 to 10 week projects, 8 to 12 week projects that then really unlock the value of using AI. Yeah, there's so much noise on AI on the socials right now, but it's how do you take it from just looking at it as kind of like a hobby tool where you're just asking a question every now and then to an actual system that's integrated into your platforms. And that's where a lot of businesses are sitting right now. Yeah, and we're going to start seeing a lot more of this year, I think, in terms of the socials. Yeah, hopefully a bit less AI slop, and then we can see some actual integrations and automations. Cool. So yeah, few questions. So our product catalog is messy. Why can't we do this yet? So you can. The conversational AI layer works whatever data you have, and the process of deploying it forces you to clean up that data you need. So start with your top 100 products or in top 20 and just get conversational search working with those, and then expand. Like that data cleanup is a feature of the products. It's not really a prerequisite of the feature of the project. So yeah, we're on whatever legacy platform. This won't work for us. So if your platform has an API or you can export product feeds, this is going to work. Yeah, even if that's like you could probably get away with like a sitemap and a crawler or something like that. Like there is an ability to extract that data. If you've got a database or anything like that, we can extract that information. Like we built the direct ferries one across 3,000 ferry routes on their existing infrastructure. Like the conversational AI is a layer. It didn't require us to go in and change their APIs in any way. We use their existing APIs, in fact. Like it doesn't require a platform migration. If you can get the product data out, we can make it conversational. So how is this different from the chatbot we tried in 2020? Yeah, this is obviously the one. There is a lot of stigma around the old chatbots and how they were decision tree based and very awkward to work with. And this is a completely different technology. This is using the same technology that's powering ChatGPT and Gemini and such, like using that on your website itself, so you get the same conversational ability with your own tools and your own products and catalog being recommended. So yeah, your 2020 chatbot was a decision tree. It had canned responses, and modern conversational AI uses large language models that understand natural language, context, and intent, and they can then give an actual answer in real words that you didn't prepare in advance. Maybe you tweak them a little to get them to say it in a certain way and use a certain tone of voice, but it's they're able to understand what it is that the customer is getting at. And it's the difference between that kind of phone tree of pressing the numbers in a conversation to actually talking to a knowledgeable person. Most people just try and get through to the actual person. Like that frustration that your customers felt with the old chatbots doesn't apply here. Like you do this, you do it well. It's a new avenue for retail, and the commercial return is significant. So then, the board level answer. So is basically you want to say that you're building a conversational commerce layer that improves on-site conversion by 2 to 3x on average for search users, and it opens new sales channels through WhatsApp and voice. It captures customer intent data for personalization, and it prepares our product catalog for AI search visibility. The initial investment is probably going to be something like $130K for an MVP with a measurable lift within, say, 6 weeks. And for example, Klarna generated $40 million in annual profit improvement from a similar approach. Like that's the case study or the answer to give to your board about why we should do this. Cool. So what matters for days is conversational AI isn't just a support tool. It's a commerce interface. It searches, recommends, profiles, upsells, and sells on your site, on WhatsApp, through voice, inside the search engines. The brands that are building this now are getting two things at once: the better buying experience today and AI search visibility tomorrow. So the same structured data that fuels the system powers both. So there's 4 phases. So start with a GEO audit of your web pages, then add a conversational search on top, expand then to messaging, profiling, and hyper-personalization, and then extend to the voice and the external AI ecosystem as well. AI referred customers do convert 31% higher on average and spend 45% longer, and 68% less likely to return products. That's Adobe tracking over 1 trillion visits. The technology exists, the infrastructure exists, the customer expectation exists. The only gap is whether your product data and your commerce layer is actually ready for it. Like I say, Klarna did this and saved $40 million or around about £32 million. Most brands are still debating which chatbot platform to put on their FAQ page. Like, choose your adventure. So two avenues if you want to follow up. First, you can apply for one of our AI audits where we'll look at your product data, your search platform, your customer channels, and understand and show you where the biggest opportunity is, and then give you a prioritized plan. This is application only. We accept brands that are a genuine fit. And I'll drop the link for that in the chat. And secondly, if you're not ready for that, you can join the newsletter. We send breakdowns like this every week, built for D2C marketing leaders who want the strategy without the noise. So both of those links are in the chat. And I appreciate you watching, and I will see you next week.